together, what exactly is going on? I see that you're withdrawn more. I see that you don't spend enough time around us. I see you're very to yourself, and it always seems like you have something on your mind. Is that how it was when you're going through the abusive marriage?
I'd say there were probably signs. I Nobody approached it like that. I think I would have resisted for a while, and I think I think it's a wonderful way to approach it that you're suggesting, where you're allowing people. This is very assertive, then, isn't it? You're allowing people to share when they're ready. Um, I think that if I had been approached like that, and I never was, I would have said, "No, no, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine," because I always had to appear everything was fine. Um, but if you're consistent with it, then people will respond. There'll be a point when they say, "Actually, yeah, there's stuff going on." Um, I didn't want to share that. It was kind of a different situation for me in a lot of ways, because for some of the time we were in the Middle East, so I was a manager. I managed a full team of men. The men were We were always busy. We were always traveling, and what I did is make myself really, really busy, so that I never had downtime to think about it or to
Think
consider
about it.
it. And I think, when we see busy people, we just assume, oh well, if they seem a little off today, it's because they're really busy and they're just probably tired. And I think it's that bit about just being there and continuing to offer support when you're ready, if you're ready, and just making it available for people. Um, Mine just came to a head, and I had the strength and the power to end it, because I was in the Middle East, and because I was an expatriate. I had a company house, so I knew that I wouldn't need to leave or move. I found out that I was pregnant shortly afterwards, so I probably at some level instinctively knew anyway. Um, but I didn't consciously know that. But that um, I think that there's times when you just kind of find a strength within you and go, this and no more. But if you have the support of other people and you're willing to accept help from other people, so much better. So much better. And that's something that if I had my time again, I would have found help.
And that's what I agree with. The support system is so important because life, you know how it is. Life is so tough, right? It's a lot to deal with. And there's so many of us that think that we can deal with everything in life on our own, but we're not built that way, right? If we were, we wouldn't be doing this, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel so frustrated, because that's my life lesson, is that we're not alone, and we don't have to be alone. My 19-year-old was back for Christmas. He's in Nova Scotia, but he came back to the UK for Christmas, and he's struggled with anxiety and depression through the COVID lockdowns. And I said to him, "You need to know that this is something that everybody deals with." And I think the more we can normalize it, and the more we can talk about it and share it and support it, then the better off we'll all be. We're tribal. We just are. We're meant to communicate. That's how we survive. Where's the food, water, shelter? We're meant to share. And I think it's a real shame if we don't share our journeys in the way that we can.
I agree because throughout time, what's been one of the consistent ways to punish someone? You isolate them,
Yeah, that's a
right?
really good point. Yeah.
You move them away, right? So if I'm going through something in my household, in my marriage, well, I'm not married, but if I'm going through
Yeah.
something in a relationship, I will withdraw. And that's a way of me, quote unquote, punishing myself because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to feel like a burden to Heather. I don't want to feel like a burden to my friends. So I withdraw, right? And that just makes things worse because when you withdraw, now your only interaction usually is with the person that's causing you the pain, right? So you made a good point with your son because I could imagine the levels of anxiety that everyone is feeling because people who are social or people who aren't necessarily social, you're still cut off. Like it's always good to have the choice. Let's say that, you know what, I want to spend the next month by myself. But if I wanted to break that, I can go and see Heather.
Yes.
Now, a lot of us don't have that option. Now we're thinking, what else are we going to do? And we have all these tests against our mental health resulting in mental issues. And I look at it as, imagine you are going through what you are going through now, where you don't even have the option of a support system. It's just you and the person that's causing you this grief.
Yeah.
Like, imagine what would be your state of mind if you were to consider that.
Yeah. And there are people in that situation. And the only thing I can say is that despite all of the lockdown, there is still help and support. You just have to reach out. And we don't have that same luxury of perhaps having a friend or a family member who says, are you okay? You seem a little bit different, as you were saying earlier. We actually have to find that strength to reach out. And as extroverts, if you're an extrovert, you know, people assume you're okay. With introverts, you know, if we go quiet for a while, people go, oh, well, they're always quiet. That's just how it is. And then they disappear. And so we need to be checking in with people, and we need to not be waiting till they're asking for help. But we also need to take responsibility for, you know, looking for the help. And there is help out there, despite wherever you are with lockdown, there is help. And there are policies or, you know, kind of things set up for those kind of cases. Because if you're locked in with that, that's beyond thought. You know, I can't even imagine that, because I had freedom to be able to do that. And I think I didn't have strength for a long time, but I did have freedom to do it. And I should say my mother passed away this week, but my mother never forgave me for getting a divorce. So, and it wasn't because she was against divorce, because a lot of her friends were divorced. She was okay with divorce. She just never thought that I should have left, because we seemed so happy as a public persona. And she never understood that difference. And she'd say, yeah, but it can't be that bad, because look how happy you guys seem. You know, there was a very different kind of behind closed doors life. And so I didn't feel like my family supported me. I was in the Middle East, they were in Canada, so we were a long way apart anyway, but I didn't feel like there was even an emotional support. But there is always support out there. If you sometimes you have to seek it out, and especially during lockdown.
Were you able to, my condolences that your mother passed away. Were you able to at least have a conversation with her before she passed that gave you at least some closure?
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations over the years, not about that subject, because we had to just agree to disagree and agree to move on. You know, she was accepting of my next life, which went horribly wrong as well. But my next marriage, and you know, and I had grandchildren, so you know, she was very happy with that. But I've had a lot of conversations with her in my own mind as I've processed my own beliefs and my own habits, where I've questioned them and said, are they true? Like, should I be believing this? Should I be living by this? So I've gone through a lot of processing for myself. And, you know, sometimes we have coaching for that, or sometimes we have therapy for that, if we need even more support. And I have been through a lot of coaching for myself, because I'm a coach, and I know it's not always possible to do these things for yourself, but I have done it in little tiny pieces. You know, I'll get a soundbite of something in my head, and I'll think, is that true? No, my mother intended it in a nice way, but it's not a good thought for me. And I think, you know, there's a lot of programming that goes on, not only from our parents, but from a lot of places. And we need to question those things and be quiet sometimes. And especially as extroverts, instead of getting really busy, we need to get quiet.